It is that time.
Are you going to do the women's?
Well,
the
we'll
women's
stick it all
semis?
together, won't we? We'll stick it all together in terms of the preview.
I'm sorry, we've
I know.
gone on.
But
Didn't think we'd have anything to talk about.
What are we going to talk about next week? There's only 2 games to talk about.
We'll find something.
Who was the only one who predicted correctly the women's grand final? It was Gary Schofield, who just picked the 2 Yorkshire teams, and he was right because Castleford beat Wigan as everyone expected, and Leeds. You can't write off the Leeds Rhinos.
He was never in doubt.
Well, you know what? You're right, aren't you? Was it 14-0 down, 14-4 down? Leeds, last minute, big games. Courtney Hill, kick through. Abby Eater from the army, scores the try.
Hannah Butcher was the win. It was a brilliant try to win a game. Just last minute of a game to find something like that was just astonishing.
I know, I mean, here's David moaning, saying, brilliant, saved under 5 minutes for the ladies' game. Phil says we should grow it. This was a good opportunity for you to do just that. I think over the past 18 months, we have done enough on this programme to not justify that criticism. I'm sorry, David. You go look at all these other podcasts out there, and I'm thinking of one in particular who sent a press release out at the start of the season saying how great their coverage of the women's game was because they did one podcast and they've done nothing since. So I'm not having that, David. I'm sorry. I know we've got late into the programme to talk about it. I'm not sure there's actually much we can talk about the games that have been, other than to say St Helens are ridiculously unlucky.
Game, and irrespective of who you support, it was as good a standard of game as I've seen this year.
If you look on social media last week, I put out that clip of the Katie Hepworth interception try for Fev against Wakefield, which has I think got 3,500 views on Facebook, which is great. Betfred tweeting out a clip yesterday of one of the cast players smashing someone. That's had over 5,000 people watch.
Courtney Hill's interview with the woman of steel.
She speaks so well. She speaks so well, and that's what you need.
The fact that Sky did a programme on the women's game last week as part of their series on women's sport, the fact that the women's final is on Sky on Friday night, have a decent commentator as well. No, it's been brilliant. It's been absolutely brilliant. The only issue is, are we having the grand final at the right venue?
It was in the right place in the first place, but because International Rugby League's a mess, it had to be moved, sadly. Sunday afternoon at Headington would have been...
I understand why it can't be Sunday. That was the issue, because the women are flying off on Saturday for their World Nines and tour to PNG. But I still think that final should have been at Castleford. That they won the League Leaders Shield, that there would have been if you'd have had that on Friday night against Leeds, you'd have had at least 5,000 people there. They've got 1,500 yesterday for their semi-final against Wigan. I think there's things called buses. You can get on them after a game that finishes at maybe 10 o'clock and still be at Manchester Airport in time to fly out. I think we've missed a golden opportunity. We did that with the Challenge Cup final between the first one between Leeds and Cass, which the RFL insisted needed to be played at Warrington to help generate interest in a women's team in Warrington. There was nobody there. Whatever they say, the only people that were there were friends and family of the two competing teams. Now, the fact that Warrington now have a team a year and a half later, brilliant. But that game on Friday night should have been at Castleford.
I don't like being criticised when what we have done outweighs the fact that we're only talking about it at the end of the programme.
It was a magnificent game yesterday. I enjoyed every second of it. And St Helens were the equal of Leeds, and their hearts were broken with. We talked about the play that the Roosters came up with. It was as good as that. It was virtually the last play of the game, and they had to come up with something. It was 14-all at the time. Leeds had dragged themselves back from 14 points down, and a chip and chase that you would have been proud of. Courtney Hill caught the ball, shipped it onto a standoff who released the winger. You couldn't wish for a better piece of skill to win a game. Didn't see the Wigan Cass game other than the tries, but that seemed to be Cass a bit of a step above Wigan. And I think, is it Gemma Walsh has announced that she's leaving Wigan, which again is a bit of a blow for them next year. She hasn't said she's retired, so could well be that she's moving clubs.
I shouldn't really know these things, should I?
But the women's game gets a magnificent grand final with a fantastic narrative between two teams that have a real rivalry that would have had anyway, but we've had, you know, 2 Challenge Cup finals between them that have gone right to the wire. Can't wait.
Without taking away anything from the top 3 teams this season, obviously something didn't work out this year at Wigan.
No.
To go from being champions to...
Well, I think Amanda Wilkinson having to give up the coaching didn't help.
But Cass are in the final. They will play Leeds. Cass, who won the League Leaders' Shield, finished 1 point ahead of Saints in the end, taking on the team that beat them in the Challenge Cup final at Bolton. It's time to make those predictions. First of all, Leeds Rhinos legend, Leeds legend, not Rhinos. Go Schofield.
Well, simple, isn't it? I've got to go for Leeds. I'm not going for Cass. Even though we're there tomorrow night, no, I'm going for the Leeds ladies, and they, you know, they want to do the double, and I think they will do the double. So yeah, I'm going for the Leeds ladies, and I think the Leeds ladies will win by 10. Yeah.
They missed out in the grand final last year with a penalty to Wigan in the last minute, which I think still rankles a little bit with them, because on that day, for the bulk of the game, they were the better side. I just think that Cass are itching for this game. There is so much unfinished business with this Castleford team who've been...
Just because we're going to Cass tomorrow, Mr. Kaplan, don't you be bottling out some.
But this Leeds team doesn't know when it's beat.
Correct.
We saw it again yesterday. 14-0 down without one of their best players playing, Daniel Anderson, and you just thought, they can't turn this around. And you sat there when the hooter went and went, they did. I don't know how they did it. Maybe they just have too much big game experience. If they win it, it's Leeds by 2.
Dealing logic, and logic suggests that Castleford win this game because they have been the best team I've seen this year. Although having said that, I wasn't surprised when Saints beat them a couple of weeks ago, and Saints can count themselves very unlucky that they haven't come away with at least an appearance in 1 final this year, let alone 2. Leeds are Leeds, and for whatever happens, for whatever reason, they get these big games won. They've played 3 times this year. Cass have won the 2 games in the Super League. Leeds won the Challenge Cup final. Leeds won the one that mattered. I'm not going to go with Leeds, not because you two haven't, you two have rather, because by all rights, Castleford should win this grand final. But it would not surprise me whatsoever. It's like hedging your bets just in case someone watches. If Leeds won. The fact that they've tipped against Leeds on both occasions, and they've been in a final or a semi-final this year, and they have gone on to win, probably says more about what I know. I'm going to go Castleford. I think it will be close. Maybe golden points. I did say to someone the other day, get practicing your drop goals. Castleford by 1.
If you can't get to St Helens on Friday night, please watch it on Sky.
What if there's a massive audience on the telly? Will people be saying we should put Women's Super League on telly and not the Championship?
I have no problem with putting Women's Super League on telly with some of the games I've seen this year.